Yes. Hey, you're the ones that show up. That's right. Yeah. But it's, hey, Shannon, good morning. All right. Val, you just let us know when you're, that's fine. I was gonna ask folks if they, just as we're waiting, any questions, concerns, anything you want to talk about before we jump into our program today? Uh, well, please, please, honestly, lay them on me.
The shit will get closed down.
Okay. Um, I can share with you, I think it's public, isn't it, Christy, the latest email that came out from Chris Reichdahl? Yeah. So if you, and we could even send that out, right? So he provided an update yesterday. And long story short, the guidance we're being given right now is keep on keeping on, doing what you're doing. Yep.
So how do we?
Well, nothing has happened yet. Um, the letter that has come out from the federal government is, I believe it's called a Dear Colleagues letter. Is that correct? And and it outlined all these things. But we have been advised that that Dear Colleagues letter is not that, and it's binding. It's not, yes. So I don't know if you call them recommendations or what, but from our school board up to our State Department of Education, the message is you just keep on doing what you're doing. There's been no stop in funding at this point. Um, it's just going to be a wait and see where things go.
I would like to know that our new superintendent is taking the words that don't have to run around with our heads cut. Yeah, do we have a plan B in case they're real?
Or
Yeah.
starting
Yes.
to form.
Yeah.
So we are bound by state and federal law. So we can't act until we have guidance from our State Department of Education. So it would not be us who's making a plan B until it comes down to that level. It would be our State Department. Um, yeah, federal.
But it's
Possible. Yeah.
but it's real.
Yep.
But I would just encourage you to like not panic. Um, we have an amazing state in terms of education, and Chris Reichdahl has really, I think, stepped up as a leader in our state. And so we're just gonna, and don't panic. One step at a time. Anything you'd add to that?
So I'll add the link to the YouTube video of his. I'll just add it to the principal. Yeah, and it's a small amount that's coming from. Fine, because if they decide to take it, he's also saying, your tax monies that go towards that should not go towards that. They should. Concept as well. You're paying taxes, that part of it is supposed to go to education, on the Department of Education, and those monies should come back to the state, which here in Washington, we would be. Not so much.
All right. You ready to go, Miss Brown? All right. The one and only Val Brown.
okay. They can see the slides. Snow Isle buys us sets of books for the third grade classrooms. Their goal is to try to help us meet that benchmark of everybody reading on grade level by grade. So that's kind of where they decided to focus this program. So they buy us books for the classroom, and then the kids read them, and you know, they have a couple of Zoom author events with some of the authors of those books. I turned it into a game, so the kids read the books, and they're listed here. And each time they read a book, they get a tiny prize. You know, so if they read one book, they get a pencil. If they read two, now they get the bookmark. And if they read all six by the end of the program, they get an ice cream party with me. And so I put all that stuff, that information into Google Classroom so the kids can go to the Read Together classroom and they can see all the information, the slideshow that we put together, the books that then if they read a book, they need to take a quiz. Actually done it. So the quizzes are posted there as well. So we got about 10 kids that have already made it to the ice cream party, and they have another month. So that's pretty fun. And I don't know if you want to look at any of that stuff. I'm happy to go back. We like to do author events, and in the past we have done live authors. Last year, this was Eric Odie. He came and he did an assembly, and then he did an evening family event thing. This year, I wrote a grant with the Schools Foundation to called Book Break, and that's where you get like really famous authors online talking about their books, and you get a huge variety. And what I'm hearing from staff is that, yeah, this is kind of cool, but there's all kinds of live author things that you can find. And they would prefer to have a person in the flesh coming here and signing kids' books and engaging with them one-on-one, because you don't always get your question answered on, 1,000 kids are on Zoom. So, but it's been fun. We've gotten some really cool authors, and we did that for here and also for the middle school. I have not. And the cool thing about that, yeah, and he's amazing. And we would never be able to afford to bring him here. So, if you log into this, it's kind of like a consortium. The more money you have, the bigger names you can get. But we have access to all the ones in the past now with this program too, which is kind of cool. We hear, because teachers have to register to get those links. So, yeah. This is another thing that we do. Every February, we give the kids books, and we kind of try to make it look like a book fair, but it's a free event where they get to come and find something that's gently used. It can be things that were parts of curriculum that we never used, or discards or donations or things we got doubles of. So we collect them all year, and then we put them all out. And we gave away about 500 books this couple of weeks ago, and they're so happy. I love this book of the girls, or the picture of the girls. Technology, these are the places where I assist with technology, and we kind of use the ISTE standards, which are the International Standards for Technology Education. And they're standards for kids, for leaders, for teachers. And these are the ones that are for the kids. And they're it's kind of fun. They go, they break down even further. If you go to that website, the one on top is linked to the ISTE standards. But this is what we want. There's this kind of continuum of, just using technology as a substitution. Instead of doing that math worksheet here, you're going to do it electronically here. And then it gets all the way to where you are creators and users of ideas and products. So every step in between has its place. But what I really want to do, my big thing is I want the kids to not just be passive consumers, actually take what they're learning and create something and share it and really whole. Yeah. So that's kind of what guides what we do. And this is how I help kids help manage subscriptions. Like I say, do that tier 1 hardware support. A big thing, and actually it was my professional goal this year, part of my evaluation, is digital citizenship and responsible use. we had this uptick in kids misusing technology last year. And so I threw together a plan, ran it by Susie, we talked about it, and we developed a tier of consequences. But I don't like to start with that, but that's there. So I want to be more proactive. I don't want to, you know, that I'd rather teach them how to be responsible with their use before that happens. And so the acceptable use policy in the handbook is like 10 pages long. What I tried to do is I tried to condense that into a one-page kid-friendly language, and I used the ORCA code. So how do I be, you know, they all know safe, respectful, responsible, and kind. So trying to connect it to that. How am I respectful? I don't tag other people. I don't use it to be mean. How am I safe? I don't give, you know, private information. So, and then we sent this home. Usually it's an opt-out. We sent it home to everybody, and you all should have seen it and talked to your kids about it and signed it. It happens. Well, and you know, sometimes things go in the backpack, never to come out again. It's the black hole. We thought we sent it on Parent Square, but we can post it. Yeah. Yeah, and this is not electronic. I don't think you can sign it online, but we should be able to post it.
This. So what I'm hearing is that not only are we trying to have a policy here as to when they're using school technology, they're working within the parameters, but we're also trying to include how do we take that outside of school
Absolutely.
and okay, because I would assume here at school, I mean, there's always loops and cracks and all sorts of technology, but here at school, I would assume we have a little bit of a nice tight, so they can't really be misusing technology too much
Be
at school.
amazed.
No, I've
will
seen
get
it.
to figure
I've seen it. And
Yeah,
so
right.
that's why I'm saying, like, I'm sure you guys are on it, but that would be just a generalized concern that I would have, that the school is just doing everything we can to lock down so that the opportunity for misuse school grounds is very limited.
Well, we do have filters that, and when somebody's doing a search for certain things will pop up, they'll get flagged, and then we'll check in with the kid and see what's
Okay.
really going on.
Great.
We also have a tool called Securely, and Securely lets a teacher opens a session, all their kids are in their session. They can lock down to a certain tab. The kids can only go to one tab. They can only have, you know, you can give them sites, like you're doing a research project. You can say, I can list several, like I want them to go to Nat Geo Kids, I want them to use PebbleGo, and that's it. So you can say those two sites only for this project.
Okay.
But kids have actually figured out how to get
Oh,
around
yeah.
it.
There's
But just knowing that your teacher could be monitoring yours, and the teacher can open up the program and see all the kids' screens. So even if I'm looking at the back of Susie's computer, I could still see what's on it. So so that was part of our plan was to train teachers in using Securely. Some do, some don't, but it's just a tool that's available.
Thank you.
Again, trying to be proactive and
Yeah.
not give them that opportunity to be
I just wanted to real quick mention another program that I think it's also securely, I can't remember the name of it, but if there's any keyword that a student uses, like hurt myself
Yep.
or
Mm, okay.
gun or whatever,
Flags.
flagged words, and all administrators immediately get an email. It's got the name of the student whose account, and, you know, so as a safety, both for the sake of the child and the larger community, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's great. These are just some of the apps that the kids have that are posted on Clever. So with our younger kids, they have a badge that logs them into their school. Google logs them into Clever, and it's just I love Clever because before Clever, the kids had to have a password for iReady. They had to have a password for and all of the conventions were different, so it didn't work one. Now they just swipe their badge, and the older kids just log in with their student ID, and it's amazing. So these are all the things that we support, and not all these things are available for every grade. But often teachers also use other programs in their classroom that aren't technically district subscriptions. Amanda, what are you looking at?
I'm just an old lady and I can't.
Well, I do have, this, the subscriptions is a link to another slideshow that tells what each subscription is, what it does, and what grades it's and how to access. So you might want to check that one out. Staff, again, we do training, we do some training. Sometimes we do whole group training at like a staff meeting. We've done some after-school training. Abby got to do her first after-school training. We do, a lot of what we do is one-on-one. It's kind of like we support when that person needs it. But we do all the training for the testing, subscriptions and tools, how, helping teachers with those. We do all the work on the backside of making sure everybody has the right access to the right level of service, that all the kids are in the way they should be. A lot of that is automated and pulled from our student information system, but, there's always behind the scenes, we do a lot. Assessment is kind of getting into testing season right now. These are some of the things that we do. What Kids is that kindergarten assessment that the teachers for a couple of weeks. Pretty intensive, and I just make sure that everything's running behind that and that we're in compliance with all those things. A lot of what we do for assessment is forms and compliance, making sure that we're reporting to the state and getting all that information where it needs to go. What Ames is alternate assessment for kids with special needs. iReady is our benchmarking that we do 3 times a year. SBAC is 3rd through 12th grade, but mostly 3 through 8 do all the tests every year. And that's ELA, math, I think 5th science, and 8th grade does science. And we are piloting a new program this year. It's a intervention program we're using mostly for math, but the kids can also do that with kids that have IEPs. They've had really good success with it up at the middle school. Pilot it here. In April, we're going to do our highly capable screening. We do that with 2nd and 5th grade to identify kids that are qualifying for that program. I should. No, I was talking about HCL. Any questions about any of that? Oh, that's it. That's all I do. So.
You have a question about YouTube here. When teachers are using YouTube, are they their own like premium accounts? Does the school, is there funding for that? So is that an individual?
Not to my knowledge. There is TeacherTube, which is and
Okay.
it's kind of curated stuff. It's like kind of more what an educator might be looking for. No, and some people let their kids use it. Some people block it with their securely.
So they're mostly, when I'm seeing in the classroom, they're mostly using teacher, not full YouTube, but they're using ads. It sounds like I didn't realize that there was TeacherTube, so.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I don't know how many people use that or just use regular YouTube.
Okay.
But, it's also, when stuff like that happens, that's that teachable moment with the kids. What we're trying to get to with the digital citizenship, media literacy is doing it when it makes sense. So, this popped up, why would that pop up? And what would happen if I click on it? Why would I want to ignore it? Just trying
Cool.
to integrate that stuff all the time. It's like reading, you don't stop teaching reading during your reading block. You do it during. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, Val. Really appreciate that overview, and I'm excited to be able to share this out to all families because I know you all are inundated with information as well, and to have something like this just come on its own, I think is really cool. Should we talk about ASB at all?
Oh, yeah. We can do that. That's super fun. I have a lot of pictures of the ASB.
just finished up the food drive. Did we ever hear back from them how many pounds of food?
Hear back from how many pounds, but I do know we hauled 53 huge boxes of heavy food. Actually, I have a picture of you with a great big box.
Oh, it was the cutest thing. They were so into it. They were just so into it. We'll post some pictures when I do up my next Orca Splash, but you know, the opportunity for them to give back. It's just, they're hungry for it and they don't even know it. You know what I mean? It's like when they get those opportunities for service, it's just so awesome. Anything else you want to share about?
No, that's a really fun time to connect with kids. Like I say, I don't work with kids every day. I
Same.
randomly, but yeah, so when we get that opportunity, they have done, they did this amazing, Veterans Day. We let them pretty much take it on and decorate this room. Some of our stuff is still up. They did, the part I loved is they did little presentations. They built slideshows, and then the kids went to the second, first, and kindergarten rooms and talked about Veterans Day and what that meant. Hockey doing that. Then we'll be doing a daffodil fundraiser at the end of the year like we did last.
I can, but we meet every 2 weeks, so they've been
Yeah.
doing a lot of
Yeah,
things.
they help decorate and make, photo posters for the Read Your Heart Out. Yeah, and like Susie said, they want to help.
Yeah.
They want to organize things. They want to make posters. They want.
So if you have ideas of projects for ASB too, I mean, we're always open. And it's a neat program because we don't do any elections. It's any kid, fourth and fifth grade who wants to be in. So some classes have 5 ASB representatives, you know. They just have to write a little letter and speak in front of the class. And it's pretty flexible about who can be involved.
When they presented at to kick off the food drive, they did a all school assembly. They got up in front of the
Oh,
class
yeah.
and helped with the slideshow there, and they held the mic and told everybody what was important. And
Were any of you at the MLK assembly by chance? Oh, it was just the sweetest thing. It ended, Susan Ritzner is doing a singing club and as one of our lunchtime clubs, and they sang at the assembly, and then they led everybody in a singing Love Train, and it was like one of my
So right.
all-time favorite moments. We had our kids out dancing on,
Yep.
it was the best. It was the best, yeah. So, yeah, the rest of the time we don't have, after March 21st, we don't have any other guest speakers scheduled, so would love input, ideas. You don't have to tell me right now unless you have some ideas, but email me if you've got ideas of people you'd like to hear from. Any other questions or comments or concerns? Yeah.
Does sort of deal with technology, but the grades in Sky out ones always came with like a sheet that ABC, So I'm reading it, I'm like, what does mean? Or like, and I couldn't figure out where in the world what those.
There should be there's a key at the top.
I mean, I've clicked all the like little bubbles, the speech bubbles and everything. Because they said they put the grades in there.
Val, do you know how to pull that?
I have not even looked at that.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that feedback. One of the reasons that two reasons we made that change. One, it was an extraordinary amount of money to mail those out. And we found that many of them ended up coming back. People didn't let us know when they had to change an address. And it was like in the thousands of dollars that we were spending over the course of the year. So that was one reason. Our office staff time, because they were stuffing all 456 envelopes. And then the other thing is this is how it transitions to at middle school. So we wanted families to start, being able to, but that's key. If you're not seeing the numbers and understanding, what those numbers mean, we need to take a look at that again. Go ahead.
Yeah, on the website. So on the website, make a page with the keys. If you just send what the key is.
Okay.
put on for grades.
Oh.
So we need some kind of a how-to
tutorial,
to make
yeah,
sure
how-to.
everybody with
Help,
visuals.
help with understanding and navigating.
We are looking into that. Our office staff was checking out whether that could be an option.
So she's on what looks to me to be the mobile,
No,
she's
it's
not
the
on an
website.
app, it's the website.
Yeah, because I can't get onto the app. It
Can't get
won't
onto
let
the
me.
app. So I don't
Password.
see exactly that choice on here. There might be some other people accessing it this way. Uh, Skyward
Yeah,
website on
I
the
would think
phone. Yeah.
you might want to be on it. Are we talking about the little I or the?
So what do like if number,
Okay.
right? It just says she has a 3, which
They're
I
gonna-
assume is.
So one of the things that's gonna happen in the next,
Pass it.
Yeah.
probably 2027, that we're gonna transition from Skyward to cumulative.
This
Like
is the.
comments, yeah.
First, one of the first ones, so a few years ago, for the pandemic, problems that the call was made that we wanted. We're pretty
is
much
it-
to be one of the last districts transitioning over to cumulative. But that one's much more intuitive, much more
If the app
friendly.
shows one
It's
thing and
made
it
for the
doesn't show another.
phone, that type of thing.
Yeah, that
Actually, this is really, really random. We're
And
talking
Skyward's
about
not
this.
very intuitive.
I would
Overall,
vote,
I mean,
Yeah.
even on a.
I would vote for removing child is a pleasure to have in class as an
And when I
option for
send to
teachers.
school,
And
to
here,
reset
here's
my
why.
password,
We know
it
our children are
never-
pleasures in class unless
I
we've been
never get a
hearing
link to
otherwise.
reset. Use
Um,
the app.
I would like some feedback from,
Yeah.
like, what really is my child? Obviously, if there's been negative, we already in the loop on that. I worked for an aerospace manufacturer. Operator error as a way to track back a problem. And the reason? Probably a training error. Cause. So I was just in that mindset. I was, my kid is a pleasure. Comment on every report that I've ever gotten.
And yeah, no, it's actually, we've had many conversations at our building leadership team meeting about comments and how, and Val, if I recall, wasn't, teachers do have an option to write their own specific comments. So this is good feedback for me to share back that it's an issue of time.
I know they got 30 some kids. I can recognize and hold all of that very valuable.
But maybe one really specific, at least one really specific comment for your child would be nice. Okay. No, I,
It's a small fish in the big.
hey, that's why we do this, right, though? I mean, nobody's name is attached when I share feedback. It's just good for us to hear what folks are thinking. So I appreciate you sharing that very much. Anything else on report cards? This is very helpful. Yeah, the Skyward. So bottom line is Skyward's app is not very helpful. That we recommend going to the your computer and the website, right? No. Yeah.
Probably.
What else?
Okay.
Cause I love stuffing envelopes.
Yay.
Like is there office work that I could come in and help with on a volunteer basis? Is there? I mean, I've already signed stuff saying that I won't say stuff. Was there? I would love to, I've already been hounding Olivia for more home projects.
I'll put you in contact with Deanne and Jenny. That's great. I know. I love.
I do too.
Oh, we used to do that. Yeah.
The whole labor force right here.
Yeah.
Have whole labor force. We have science van coming on the March 17th and 18th. And we will need folks to we get a lot. We get an all-school assembly, and then the science center staff go into each classroom and teach a lesson. But then we also have a hands-on exhibit area where they get to play with all the kind of stuff they would down at the science center. And we will need volunteers for 2 days
You
to
have the dates off the top of your head
17th and 18th
of
March
coming right up.
coming up. So
Okay.
yeah,
And Reptile Man is
27th. Coming in, they'll do a assembly and then an evening event. So it's the same show, but the kids love to see it.
oh yeah. I love
The house
Reptile
like
Man.
nothing else. Yeah.
He brings quite a few. Like
Yeah, yeah, we got a lot of cool science stuff coming. We got the Science Center, we got the Reptile Man, and we're also working on STEAM Night, which is scheduled for April 17th. And that will be a time for families to come in, and we're hoping PTA can do a barbecue that night, so you don't have to worry about dinner. So come in, it's just, there'll be activities all over the building that kids can.
Okay, to piggyback just on a little bit of science, I think the whole entire district should be paying attention to Emily's Science Lab on YouTube and Netflix for a while. A lot of integration with schools. She has lotteries to win. Does all sorts of stuff. I would follow her. I've been
What's her
watching
last name
now.
again? Can you
Well,
spell it, Amy?
Emily Calandrelli, Caladrelli.
Cool.
She's an MIT engineer. She's a Emmy nominated person. Like, she is really fantastic. She's promoting everybody being involved with science and space, but obviously little girls is a focus. Story is awesome.
Cool.
And she's the 100th one.
I love,
Cool.
yeah, I love,
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's collaborated with Bill Nye, and it was a really fun little TV show there
oh,
too.
right
personally.
on. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure. no
That's
problem.
super cool. Yeah, STEAM night, we're really trying to get, and with math, and science in particular, we're starting a 5th grade math, or excuse me, science lab down on South Campus, which we're really excited about. We just got a grant from the Schools Foundation to get some nice microscopes for kids. So we're super excited about that. Would be watershed stewards. They have a space at the community center and they're creating like a marine science lab down there. So we'll be starting to programs. We're going to pilot a program this spring. Well, they'll go down to Langley Marina, get plankton, come back up, study it. So that's going to be super cool. Thanks to the Schools Foundation. I mean, they're just doing so much for us. We're just very, very, very grateful. Yeah, super good stuff. What else fun is happening? Oh, I don't know if any of you are interested, but we got this STEM recognitions. We're STEM Lighthouse School for our outdoor ed programs, and part of what we're supposed to do with that is educate other schools. But parents are welcome to come too. So if you go to and I'll put this in my next Orchid Splash, we're putting on a series of workshops this spring, and parents would be more than welcome to come check them out too. They're free. There's going to be one at Deception Pass State Park, working with a variety of different folks. The Woodby Camino Land Trust, EB's Preserve. There's going to be some really cool. So would love to have parents come too. It would be super cool. What else fun is happening? Every day is, it's true. Please encourage people we only got free lunch for everybody by 5 families last year. And so we need everybody who may qualify for free and reduced lunch to fill that application out because we won't get it next year if we don't meet a certain criteria. Christy, do you know?
The applications are anytime. It's just better to do it. Like if you haven't done it, if, families totally know that they're not. You can see the income. But if it's even possible. important thing is because everybody's getting free, not doing it. If they had to pay. But, yeah. Yes.
Our lunch numbers are up 40%, with, with it being free. So it's such a gift for our families and kids. Yeah. So please spread the word. Um, Another important legislative piece that's going on right now is I think we've shared this a bit, but the ITK, our preschool program is in the legislative kind of going through decision-making right now. And I can't even tell you the difference that program has made. 5 days a week, free transportation, free meals for our 4-year-olds. And the the progress, I looked at our Walk Kids data the other day from our 4-year-olds. It's unbelievable the benefit these kids are receiving. So if you feel like calling a legislator, say, please fund ITK. Yes. Yeah. You mean the 3-year-olds? It's actually a legal obligation that school districts have. When a child is identified through what's called child find, if they are, and correct me if any of this information, because I don't work really closely with that program, but if they're identified as having a need, they develop an IEP for 3-year-olds as well. And so then districts are obligated to serve. So we have our 3-year-olds here 2 half days a week. They mostly have their own individual program, but so all those 3-year-olds have identified special needs. And then they spend a little tiny bit of time in the 4-year-old program. So then they can transition right into that the following. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say something else and I lost it. Story of my life these days. uh, um, Hi. Hi, big girl. Hi. Well, if there's anything else, like I say, send me ideas for guest speakers or programs you'd like to see discussed. Yeah, iReady should, hopefully everybody saw iReady results. If you didn't, reach out to your teachers. We're 3rd through 5th grade. We made the decision and we're supported by the school board. We were finding that we were like over testing. It just felt like so much for our 3rd through 5th graders in the spring, having to do those days of iReady and then SBAC. And so we were given the okay to not do the 3rd final round of iReady for our 3rd through 5th grade. We're looking at how we still have good data to show because unfortunately they take the SBAC in the spring and sometimes we don't get results till November of the following school year, and it's crazy. Yeah, so we can't really use it to determine, if kids are, yeah, much of anything. So we're looking at what are other formative assessments that we can use to show that growth without over testing kids. Yeah. Oh, it's too much. Yeah.
The 3rd graders, that aspect for the first time, and it's a lot. So we work with them beforehand. We have them do a practice test, and the teachers will take items and work through them as a class together, and so that they get familiarity with the platform before they actually do the assessments. So, but it does feel like a lot for the youngest.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. Hit that green button right there.
I see lots of people in the school, but I'm not quite sure.
Oh, what everybody's roles and responsibilities are. Okay.
Like chart of every support
Oh.
practice in a school to be like,
Great. Okay. It's interesting now we don't have a single paraeducator who's not assigned to special education. We used to have general ed paras who were in the kindergarten or student support like Ellen Wallace and Marty Buckman. And so I can say right here and now that if you see a paraeducator, classified staff member in our building, it's special education, except for the behavior technicians. And I think we've talked a little bit about those roles, but we moved from what Ellen used to do, student support, to registered behavior technicians. We have 2 in our building, Jana Vance and Carly Hudson. And then we have, I'm blanking on Manya's title. Manya. She, ABA, anyway, there's a woman who, yes, Manya. She's at a higher level and she supervises. Yeah, she supervises, which is a requirement of the state, our 2 behavior technicians. And they can work with what are, we call our tier 3 students who may or may not have an IEP. Sometimes students with behavioral needs don't have an IEP. But I was nervous at first about it, but it's been so powerful because that child is, I mean, if there's a need that comes up, that person responds. They work really closely with the teacher. There's a plan developed. So it's been really, it's kind of exciting to see actually. We use what's called Swiss data. I'm sure you've all heard of blue slips, when a discipline write-up, a blue slip. So all those blue slips are entered into what's called our Swiss data system. And in fact, I'll bring that next time. I'll do a little presentation because we've got our board next Wednesday. We do what's called a mid-year data summit. And so each principal does a pretty extensive report to the board about how are we doing on our goals. And we're going to use a lot of our Swiss data because one of our goals is social, emotional, and behavioral. And this Swiss data, so we enter these blue slips. And then we can generate reports that tell us, okay, your biggest discipline issues are at 2:00 on Wednesdays on the playground. I mean, it's really cool how much we can nail that down. And so I'll bring some of that. It's super interesting. But our Swiss data is looking so good this year comparatively. Yeah, it's really exciting. Our 2 biggest areas of concern are the playground and the cafeteria. And so we're really targeting. Yeah, if you ever walk in the cafeteria, you'll know. Oh, what were you going to? Oh, the Gaga pit on the playground. Yeah, and wall ball. I would love, okay, because I would love to hear any input. We bought I don't know if you've been in there, our stop sign. And you program it for the noise levels. So green, if it goes green, it's acceptable. Yellow, it's time to quiet it down. Red, our cafeteria people, oh, baby. Our cafeteria people get on the microphone and say, we're red, we need to bring it down, but we are so open to ideas. Absolutely. Okay, very good, very good. But, oh, I'm excited to share that Swiss data. I will look forward to that. Yeah. And we're bringing all our check-in, check-out. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but we're kind of updating that whole system in alignment with our Swiss, so we can have that report as well. So yeah, a lot of good things going on. Yeah.
Board certified behavior analyst.
Yes. Oh man, is there ever when I think about kind of what my legacy is going to be as I transition out, it's about the people here. I mean, we just have such families, staff, some amazing teachers. Yeah, we're very fortunate. Bless you. All right, my friends. Thank you. Appreciate you all so much. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it. Thanks, Val.